Hey everybody, today Benjamin takes a look at Portobello Market. Each player is handed a number of markers based on player count, 3 action tokens with the numbers 2, 3, and 4. A score track marker. The board is divided into 3 areas: alleys, districts, each with a Bobby location, and plazas, where you place the customers. There are 8 gray neutral action markers that are stacked from lowest value to the highest value. That is, 1s on the bottom, then 2s, and finally 3s go on top. Off to the side of the board, you'll place the Bobby and the final customer, the Lord. Not that one. You'll take the 5 gray servants and the 5 pink bourgeoisie and place them into the bag to be drawn at random. There is a variant where after placing them in the bag, you draw them out at random and place them in the order you remove them on the side of the board. And then each customer is placed in that order. This way you can plan ahead and reduce randomness. So that is, if you drew them out of the bag and you drew gray, pink, gray, pink, then you would place them in that order whenever they came into play. Your score markers begin on the number 10 on the score track. The player to the right of the starting player chooses where to place the Bobby on the board. Markets can only be built in alleys surrounding the district the Bobby is in. Each player will take their own market stand with their 3 action tokens with values 2, 3, and 4. On a player's turn, they're going to decide how many actions they want to take and turn over that token. You'll not be able to take that many actions again until you use all your other tokens. Here, green chooses 3 actions. Green chooses to place 3 markets in an alley adjacent to the Bobby. Yellow chooses to take 2 actions. Action 1 is to draw a customer at random from the bag and place it in a plaza. Action 2 is to draw another customer to get a bourgeoisie and place it in a district away from the Bobby. Unlike placing markets, when placing a customer, they do not have to be placed near the Bobby. Red decides to take 4 actions. Action 1 is to place a market in an alley. When placing a market, you have to start at one end of the alley, and each additional market placed in that alley, regardless of which player is placing their market, has to continue in a line down the alley. Action 2 decides to move the Bobby. Because Red has the majority in the alley, Red does not have to pay 1 victory point cost to move the Bobby. You can move the Bobby over an alley that you control, that is, where you have the majority of the market stalls, for free. But if the majority of the markets in the alley are not your own, or there are no markets in the alley, you have to lose 1 victory point to move the Bobby, and it can only be moved to an adjacent district. For Action 3, they place a market in a new alley. For Action 4, they draw a customer at random. It's a bourgeoisie, and they place it in the plaza. Green decides to now take 4 actions. Action 1 is to move the Bobby over an empty alley at a penalty of 1 victory point. Action 2 and 3 is to place 2 market stalls, and I forget to do the 4th action. Yellow chooses to take 3 actions. Actions 1 through 3 are to place market stalls to complete an alley. When an alley scores, all players in the alley get points based on the value of the market stalls they occupy and the type of customers in the plazas. Both plazas have to have customers, and all market stalls must be filled for a scoring to occur. Yellow occupies stall values 3, 2, and 1, so that totals for 6 points. The alley has 2 bourgeoisie in the adjoining plazas, so the market stall value is multiplied by 3 for a total of 18 points. Green has a 3 and a 2 stall for 5 points, multiplied by 3 for a total of 15 points. Red chooses to take 3 actions. Actions 1 and 2 are to place 2 market stalls, completing an alley. Action 3 draws a customer at random, draws a servant, and rather than completing the alley and scoring the alley, decides to wait for a potentially more valuable customer and places this one off to the distance. Again, there is a variant where the customers are all chosen at random at once, placed in the order they are drawn, and then you can tactically decide when to complete an alley and take a customer. Green takes its final action of 2 movements. Action 1 and 2, Green places 2 markets in an alley adjacent to the location of the bobby. Final action token of 4 actions. Action 1 is to move the bobby over Green's majority alley, therefore Yellow loses 1 point. Actions 2, 3, and 4 are to place 3 markets in an alley with a pink customer at one end and an open spot at the other. Red chooses its last action token of 2. Action 1 is to draw a customer. They get a gray customer and they place it. Action 2 draws a bourgeois customer and places it at the end of its 2 market alley. The markets are worth 4 points times the 2 bourgeois value of 3 for a total of 12 points. Now flip their action token markers back over to be used again. To perform a district scoring action, this is where you give up one of your action marker tokens and place it in the district you are scoring. You count how many market stalls you have in the entire district, not the value of the stalls, just how many you have in total. Here, Green has 4 stalls. Green then multiplies that number, 4, by the multiplier value on the token, which is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Green earns 8 points. Next, Green will take the top neutral action marker and replace the one he gave up with the new one. So Green has now given up his 2 action marker for a 3 action marker. Again, you can see the values of the action markers decrease. Yellow now decides to take 2 actions. For its actions, Yellow chooses to place market stalls in an alley adjacent to the bobby. Chooses to take 4 actions. Action 1 is to move the bobby at a cost of 1 victory point. Actions 2 through 4 are to place 3 markets in an alley adjacent to the bobby. The alley is now full, but will not score until a customer enters the one remaining open plaza attached to the alley. Green chooses to take 4 actions. Action 1 is to move the bobby over an empty alley which costs 1 victory point. Actions 2, 3, and 4 are to place market stalls in available alley spots with high level values. Yellow decides to take 3 actions. Action 1 is to draw a customer. A gray servant comes out. The customer is placed in an open plaza, triggering a scoring. All the market stalls in the alley belong to red. The stall value is 7, and a pink and gray customer create a multiplier value of 2 for a total of 14 points. Had Yellow not done this, Red could potentially get a multiplier value of 3 or 4, so Yellow decided to place the lowest value customer in the plaza. For action 2, they draw another customer and get a pink bourgeois customer. The customer is placed in the plaza, triggering another scoring. This time it is for Yellow. Yellow scores 4 market points times the 2 pink customers, a multiplier of 3 for a total of 12 points. The customer also triggered another alley scoring for Yellow, with a market value of 7 times 2 pink customers, a multiplier of 3 for a total of 21. Action 3 is to place a market stall. Red takes its 2 action marker to perform a district scoring. The marker is placed in a district with 4 red markets, so 4 times 2, the value of the action token, gives Red 8 points. Next, Red has to replace its value 2 multiplier with one from the top of the gray stack and gets an action token with a value of 3. Decides to take 3 actions. Action 1 is to draw a customer. Green draws a gray customer and places it on the board. Action 2 is to draw the final customer in the bag, which is a pink one. That means that now the Lord, the highest value customer, is placed in the final remaining spot on the board. Green now totals up the scoring for the alley that the pink customer was placed in. The value is 7. The gray and pink customer multiplier is 2 for a total of 14 points for green. Yellow chooses to perform 4 actions. Actions 1 through 4 are to place market stalls. A scoring of an alley is triggered, the one with the Lord at the end. Yellow has an 8 value in this alley, and green has a 3 value of 3. The customers are pink and black, which is a 4 times multiplier, so yellow will score 32 points and green will score 12 points. The game continues until one player places their last market stall. At that point, you finish out the current round. A final scoring is conducted where any alley the Lord is attached to is scored. This includes incomplete alleys, and you don't score the completed alley twice. I just scored it when it was completed. The rules recommend you wait to score them all at once at the end. And that is how you play Portobello Market.